Hello and welcome to yet another session. I am Nandakishore. In my previous session, I had discussed about the chapter, I believe that books will never disappear. And in today's session, I am going to discuss the chapter, The Water, written by CHINUA ACHEBE. Before I move on, let me tell you a couple of interesting facts about voting. Did you know that Article 326 of Indian Constitution deals with your voting rights? Yes, it does. But it can also take back the given voting rights under the section 171E if you have taken the bribe to cast your vote, and also under the section 171F if you are influenced by any other person to cast your vote for a particular party or a particular person. That's interesting. In Australia, any person who has voting rights, if he doesn't turn up on the day of federal election, he is liable to be fined about 20 Australian dollars, or it could go up till 180 Australian dollars. So that is a pretty good idea to make one realize about his rights. So let us start with today's chapter, The Voter. CHINUA ACHEBE is one of the Nigerian prominent writers. He is also a novelist and a professor. He was alive till 2013. His famous works are Things Fall Apart, Arrow of God, No Longer at Ease, Enemy of the People, Girls at War, and many more. So this chapter, he has concentrated on Igbo society. So this Igbo is community who lived in Nigeria, and CHINUA ACHEBE has thrown light on Igbo society and also effect of Christian influences during and after colonial era. If you know what is colonization, that British went on conquering lot of nations, lot of land, and they imposed their own rules on local people. So this chapter is basically talking about Igbo society and how a single man can influence an entire community. Roof the manipulator. Why we consider Roof as a manipulator? Because Roof, or known as Rufus Okeke, was educated. He was an educated man and he had worked under a bicycle repairer. He was working as a bicycle repairer, as an apprentice who was working hand, and he was a sort of a right hand for Marcus eBay. So anything that Marcus eBay wants to get done, he would depend on Roof. Why would he depend on Roof? Because Roof had a firm grip on local people, on his community people, and he went on to influence his community people to cast their votes for Marcus eBay. Now Marcus eBay, as I told you, he is the leader of PAP, People's Alliance Party, as I told you. And not just that, Marcus eBay, before he was election contender, before he became the Minister of Culture, he had worked, or he was working as a missionary school teacher. And as the elections entered UMOFIA village, Marcus eBay gained the confidence of his people and contested for election and won the election already. He has already won the election, and now he is the cultural minister. Now he is the cultural minister, and again is contesting for the upcoming elections. Roof is an educated person but had worked as a bicycle repairer who is now working for Minister of Culture Chief, the Honorable Marcus Ebe. Ebe was formerly a mission school teacher who is now running for another election with his party, People's Alliance Party. Now, Roof is considered the perfect election advisor. Why is Roof considered the perfect election advisor? Because he was so good at catching, or he was so good at telling the mood of the electorate. Electorate means the voters. He would know in and out of the voters. Roof is considered the perfect election advisor as he could influence people in political affairs and tell the mood and temper of electorate at any given time. So within a snap, he would just go and convince the people to cast their votes for Marcus Ebe. That's how good he was. So that's why we consider Roof is one of the important characters in the chapter, the voter. Later on, as we move on, we get to know that Roof is not just sincere to Marcus Ebe, but he has a weak point too. So, life and luxury of Marcus Ebe. Life and luxury of, so when we talk about life and luxury of Marcus Ebe, it is very important to identify and to be clear about what sort of life Marcus Ebe led. Before he was working as a school teacher, and all of a sudden he contests for election, he wins and he starts gaining a lot of popularity. Not just that, he also led his life in a luxurious way. So how? People of UMOFIA casted their vote for free of cost and kept wondering how politics made people very rich. And at this point of time, people had not accepted any bribe. They hoped that one fine day there would be doctors who would come to their village and cure the sick, hoping that Marcus Ebe would arrange for a lot of facilities. People casted their votes for free of cost. But instead, what did Marcus Ebe do? He went on to build a mansion which is named as UMOFIA mansion, right? And also he purchased 2 long cars. He had 2 long cars. And just not that, it is not enough for him. In order to give electricity to his mansion, he had recently applied or installed the private power hub. Think about it, he was misusing the power and the money of people. He had slaughtered 5 bulls and countless goats to entertain the people. So why did he slaughter? Not just because he christened his new house. Christened in the sense, it's just nothing but housewarming, a sort of a housewarming ceremony. In order to please the people, he had slaughtered 5 bulls and countless goats. You should think about it. This scenario is reflected in most of the countries. Even in India, people know that they are selling their votes. For what price? For the price of 500 rupees, for the price of chicken biryani, for the price of liquor, for the price of 10 rupees, depending on what profession they do. The same scenario is reflected in UMOFIA village, and in the chapter The Voter, CHINUA ACHEBE talks about how vulgar or how bad the days before the election could get. Next, bribe the tribe. Now, as you know, Roof is a right hand or the helping hand for Marcus Ebe. So anything that Marcus Ebe wants would be done by Roof. So what Roof does is, he goes to one of the chief elders, Ogbefi Ezenwa. He asks the elders of the village to assemble in his house and he gives them 2 shillings. So how did Roof get the money? eBay had withdrawn 5 months' salary in advance. You should concentrate on this. He had withdrawn 5 months' salary in advance and he had converted that pounds, the few hundred pounds, into shillings. So pounds into shillings, shillings is the local currency in Nigeria. He had converted that shillings, and when Roof goes to Igwefi Ezenwa's house, there are a lot of village heads who are already in the house, and he gave them 2 shillings. So Roof gives them 2 shillings each. But are the village heads happy with 2 shillings? No, they are not. They think that Marcus eBay is no longer poor. Once upon a time, he was a school teacher. We do understand that he was poor then, but now he has constructed or built a mansion which is named after UMOFIA village. So he mentions in this chapter, CHINUA ACHEBE has used these powerful words to convey the reader how an election contender could get bad to convince or to please the voters. So Marcus eBay has constructed his house. He has named it after the village named UMOFIA. So the name of the mansion is UMOFIA Mansion. And people say that he is no longer poor. He has constructed the house. He has bought 2 cars. I think, or we think, that it is so mean and so bad of us to only accept 2 shillings. Now Roof gets to know that these village heads are not so pleased. So what he does, he reminds them that Marcus is a son from their village, and also Marcus had promised the villagers that he would bring the water, pipe-borne water. So he would bring the water facility, he would bring water to the village through pipes. So at least hearing this, Roof believed that after I told these words, maybe after listening to this, village heads would be convinced. But are they convinced? They didn't. They are not. But village elders decided to take more bribe as Marcus eBay is no longer poor. As I told you, they know, they are very well aware that Marcus eBay has got a lot of money. So these are the words taken from the text. But today is our day. So the elders decide, in order to take more bribe, they know, the elders know that if we take only 2 shillings and cast our vote tomorrow, then Marcus eBay would not turn back. He would not come back and see us for the next 5 years until the next election. So they are taking, or they are making use of this opportunity. They are grabbing hold of this opportunity and they are saying, today is our day. We have climbed the Iroko tree. Iroko tree is a local tree which is maybe the firewood tree today, and would be foolish not to take down all the firewood we need. So this word firewood is very important here. Why this word firewood is very important? Firewood is compared to money there. So why do people use firewood? What do they use it for? They use it for day-to-day chores, maybe to burn, to cook, or to keep themselves warm, right? And he says, and people, these elders, they are thinking firewood is nothing but the currency, the shillings, and they want to grab hold of the opportunity. So Roof quickly understands their intention and what the word firewood meant. So the word firewood here He knows that he himself was accepting or taking too much of firewood. If you read the chapter, in the chapter it is clearly mentioned that the firewood has been accepted by Roof himself. He was stealing the money from Marcus eBay without his notice. And what he does is, so he drops one more shilling for each of them. But when they again rejected, he drops one more, which turns to be 4 shillings together, and tells them, either you take these 4 shillings or you leave it. So what will the elders do now? They will accept the bribe and decide and promise that they are going to cast their vote for Marcus eBay. But what happens later? On the same night, Maduka's campaigner, Maduka's right hand or the helping hand, will visit Roof. And what he does is, Maduka's campaigner, he bribes Roof with how much money? He gives him 5 pounds. Now Roof is in dilemma whether to accept 5 pounds or not. If he accepts 5 pounds, he has to cast his vote for Maduka. So who is Maduka here? Maduka is the leader of POP, People's Organization Party. So he is the leader of POP. If he takes the bribe, he has to vote for him. There is no way out. If he doesn't take, he is going to miss out a huge sum. 5 pounds, maybe it is nothing today, but before, or maybe 50 years back, it was so much. It meant maybe equivalent to 50,000 or 1 lakh today. So Roof doesn't want to miss out this opportunity. He accepts, and not just that, he decides to take the money and swears on EE or IE. This word means the local god, the local deity. He swears on local deity and tells that if I don't cast my vote for Maduka, I would be punished. Let something happen to me. So this is what happens on the night before the election. Now on the day of election, what happens? Previous night, Roof bribed the village heads and he convinced the village heads so that they would go to their respective families and persuade them to cast their votes for Marcus eBay. On the same night, Maduka's helping hand or the campaigner or the advisor will visit Roof, and he will bribe Roof with 5 pounds. And he makes sure that Roof will swear on the local deity IE or EE, and makes sure that Roof will cast his vote for Maduka himself. So what happens on the day of election then? Now on the day of election, Roof is very cautious. Now he knows he is feeling guilty because he was working for Marcus eBay and accepted the bribe from Maduka. So he is feeling guilty. He is very cautious and he is feeling guilty that what would happen? Who would he cast his vote for? Whom would he vote? And not just that, Roof is looking at Marcus eBay, who is sitting inside the car. So Marcus eBay party symbol is car. He is already sitting inside the car and his campaigners are all around and they are making a huge tantrum with loudspeakers and they are announcing that you have to vote for Marcus eBay. Roof is standing in one corner and he is observing all these things which is going on, and he says to himself, that I should not let Marcus Ebe know that I have accepted the bribe. So he is not letting out any expressions on his face. He is pretending as if he is normal. So meanwhile, on the other hand, Marcus Ebe is sitting inside the car, and people, those who are going to cast their votes, they are shaking Marcus Ebe's hands in advance. They are shaking his hand and they are telling that you are going to win this time to Marcus Ebe. Why Roof is so cautious now? Roof is also thinking that if Marcus Ebe wins, it is well and good. Since Roof is a helping hand for Marcus Ebe, he could go on and live the life he wanted for next 5 years or maybe until the next elections. But what is pricking him? What if Marcus Ebe loses his election? He is afraid, he is cautious that he is going to lose control on local people. He is going to lose the money which he is getting on daily basis, maybe. So he is very cautious. So what happens next? On the day of election, now election day has come, people are shaking hand with Marcus Ebe. They are congratulating him in advance that he is going to win. And as the turn of Roof comes, Marcus Ebe sends Roof to cast his vote. So what will Roof do now? When it is time for voting, it starts with Roof. So Marcus Ebe wants Roof to cast his vote first. So he goes inside, he just takes the ballot paper. If you can see here, this is Roof. He is holding the ballot paper. Remember, whom should he vote now? He has taken 5 pounds from Maduka's advisor, promising him and swearing on local deity that he would cast his vote for Maduka. But on the other hand, Roof is an advisor for Marcus Ebe. He was stuck in this dilemma. He had no idea what to do, and he just stood there blank, holding his ballot paper. While he was torn between these two situations, a brilliant idea was stuck to him. He decides that he is going to tear the ballot paper into 2 halves, and he puts the first ballot paper into Maduka's box and verbally says out loud that I have casted my vote to Maduka. So he says that I have casted my vote for Maduka. As he had promised that he would cast his vote for Maduka, he wants to confirm verbally to the people. So he says out loud, I have casted my vote for Maduka. And what will he do with the other half of ballot paper? He drops it in the box of Marcus Ebe and moved out. He comes out of the electorate office. And that is the end of the chapter. So what are the basic themes you should know from this chapter? Is about poverty, corruption, betrayal, guilt, irresponsibility and ignorance. Let me just explain in brief. So why did people start accepting the bribe? Because they were poor. Since they were poor, they wanted to fulfill their daily needs, and they had only golden opportunity, and that was before the day of election. People in Nigeria struggle a lot. They don't even have basic needs. So that's how poor the people are in Nigeria. Corruption. As we know, Roof was the first corrupted man who goes on to corrupt others. Roof himself was a corrupted man. He was just draining the wealth of Marcus eBay on daily basis. He fills his belly and he goes on to bribe the village heads. So that is one scene. The next scene, Maduka's advisor bribes Roof himself. So when Roof had no opportunity or he had no other way to give up £5, he accepts it. He accepts and he decides that no matter whether I'm corrupt or no matter whether I'm going to cast my vote for Marcus eBay, but I am going to cast my vote for Maduka because he has promised, he has sworn on local deity. Next is betrayal. As we know, Roof was the helping hand of Marcus eBay and he accepts the bribe and he betrays Marcus eBay in secret. For a moment, he will think that he can't even betray Marcus eBay in secret. But finally what he does, he secretly betrays, maybe betrayed or not. That is a clever or brilliant idea which he comes up while voting. Guilt. Roof accepts the bribe and he is feeling guilty on the day of election. Before casting his vote, he is feeling guilty. For a moment, he felt that he shouldn't have taken the bribe. But it is too late. He has already sworn on local deity. Irresponsibility. Marcus eBay, he misuses the people fund. He constructs a big mansion. He buys cars. And not just that, even it is the irresponsibility of people too. They are selling their votes for the sake of money, for the sake of temporary pleasure. And the last one is ignorance. People are not aware about their rights. Not just in Nigeria, not just in UMOFIA village, not just in one country. It could be all over the world. Most of the people are not aware about their rights. As I told you, it is a very good idea that Australia has come up with in order to make realize about the rights of an individual. They find them. They are making them realize their own rights. That is a brilliant idea. So this is it for today. Thank you and have a good day. In the next session, I will be discussing the chapter Where There Is a Wheel, written by P. Sainath. Thank you. Have a good day.